So, what really is wealth? Most people immediately think of money, but let's be honest, there are countless individuals with massive bank accounts who are actually poor. Poor emotionally, poor mentally, poor spiritually. They may not have meaningful relationships. They're disconnected from their kids. They live in constant stress because the opposite of wealth is not poverty, it's scarcity. So, if I had to define wealth in the simplest way, I'd say wealth is the ability to extract the maximum amount of joy from any experience. If you've got millions of dollars, but you can't experience joy, if you can't find the beauty in the small things, you're not wealthy. You're just financially rich. See, money by itself doesn't transform your life. Sure, people joke, if you're unhappy with money, you just don't know where to shop. It's funny, but not true. What really matters is whether you can feel abundant now, before the numbers in your bank account ever change. And I get it. I've been where you are. I started just like many of you. Early in my journey, I found myself in rooms with billionaires. Not because I had money, but because I had value. I helped them solve problems in their relationships, their health, their business, their happiness. That's how I earned proximity. But here's what I discovered. Just because someone is a billionaire doesn't mean they're wealthy. In fact, when I wrote Money, Master the Game, I interviewed some of the wealthiest individuals on the planet. Many of them lived in scarcity. I'll give you one story. A billionaire friend of mine, worth more money than most nations, screamed at his wife and child because they spent $2,500 on jewelry. Now, this man could spend that amount every minute of his life and never run out of money. But he was trapped in a scarcity mindset. I remember another moment, we both had to fly to India. At that time, I didn't have my own plane, so I chartered one because I value my time and quality of life. He owned a Gulfstream, yet chose to fly commercial, not because he enjoyed it, but because he was stuck in a mindset of saving. He was nearly 70 years old. What was he saving for? See, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you live in scarcity, you're not wealthy. That's why today, before we go any further, I want you to understand something. Wealth begins with psychology. Every one of us has a financial set point, just like we have a body weight set point. You might push beyond it temporarily, but eventually you come back to where you believe you belong. This week, our goal is to raise your wealth set point, not just in numbers, but in joy. Because if you think money alone is the answer, you're wrong. Many of you here today make far more money than you did 10 years ago. But tell me, do you have less stress or more? For most, it's more. Even first world problems bring stress. Multiple homes? That means multiple staffs, multiple issues, more employees, more drama. It's another business to run. Money doesn't erase stress. It doesn't erase scarcity. Only a change in mindset does. Wealth happens when you find joy, even in the things that once frustrated you. When you can smile in the middle of chaos, that's true abundance. Now let's talk about age. Many people think wealth building is for the young. Not true. If you're under 40, you're just getting started. If you're over 40, those are the highest earning years of your life. If you apply the strategies and tools you'll learn here. But listen carefully. The goal is not to have the most money. The goal is to live with the most joy, with as little stress as possible. Money is only useful if it helps you live more fully, love more deeply, and give more freely. I'll share a personal story. Years ago, a friend invited me on his yacht. Everyone was talking about how he made $25 million from a single film project. At that time, I worked 18, 20-hour days, 7 days a week, and I thought, I'll never make that kind of money, not in my industry. I compared myself, and I felt small, depressed, defeated. But here's the truth. Comparison kills joy. I wasn't being fair. This man was 18 years older. He was in an industry with far higher margins than mine. I didn't understand leverage, scale, or business models at that time. I only saw the gap. Over time, I learned the power of maximizing what you already have before chasing 10 other things. I stopped comparing and focused on creating. And now, I make more money in my sleep than I thought was even possible back then. But let me be clear. This isn't about the number. It's about growth. It's about not judging yourself for where you are today. It's about remembering that health, love, joy, and fulfillment matter more than money. That's why I start my book Life Force. If you're sick, money doesn't matter. If you're lonely, a healthy money doesn't matter. A million dreams. If you're empty, money doesn't matter. Has just one. So where you are today isn't what defines you. What matters is where you're going, and whether you have the tools to get there. Now, here's the truth. When you first immerse yourself in wealth building, it can feel overwhelming. The terms, the strategies, the language, it can sound like another world. But just like learning a new language, immersion makes it simple. Stick with it and soon the patterns become clear. That's why repetition is the mother of mastery. You don't learn by hearing something once. You learn by hearing it, feeling it, applying it again and again until it becomes part of you. I've worked with some of the greatest financial minds in the world. Paul Tudor Jones, one of the best traders alive. And even after decades of coaching, I still approach learning with humility. Because there's always another level, always another distinction. That's why my own journey has grown beyond what I ever imagined. Decades ago, I set a goal of $2 million in passive income. Today, I earn far beyond that, sometimes over $100 million a year. But let me tell you, becoming a billionaire won't change my life. It won't make me happier. It won't make me more fulfilled. The only thing that changes your life is when you choose to find joy right now, in this moment. Because the truth is, life is not a straight line. Nature doesn't grow in straight lines, neither does wealth. It's up, it's down, it's messy. But if the overall trend is up, you're on the right path. So, here's where I want you to start. Be wealthy now. Not because of the money you have, but because of the joy you create. Because if you can extract joy from the little things, the big things will only multiply it. And that's real wealth.